Assalamu alaikum and good morning to all my students of class Metric. I am Miss Noreen and today I will teach chemistry online. As you know students, in previous lecture we already discussed chapter number 3, that is organic chemistry. Today I will continue this chapter, and in this lecture we discuss classification of organic compounds. Before starting this lecture, we share some information about previous lecture. In previous lecture, we already discussed what are hydrocarbons. The compounds which containing carbon and hydrogen are called hydrocarbons. Then we discuss what are organic chemistry. Organic chemistry is the branch of chemistry which deals with hydrocarbons and their derivatives. This branch of chemistry is called organic chemistry. Then we discuss different types of hydrocarbons. For example, alkane, alkene and alkyne. Alkyne is defined as hydrocarbons which containing triple bond between carbon atoms. If triple bond present between carbon atoms, this type of hydrocarbons are called alkyne. Then we discuss alkene. What are alkene? Alkene is defined as hydrocarbons which containing double bond between carbon atoms. Then we discuss alkane. Alkanes are also hydrocarbons. That hydrocarbons which contain single bond between carbon atoms are called alkanes. Now, today in this lecture we discuss classification of organic compounds. First of all, we discuss here what are organic compounds. Organic compounds are also hydrocarbons in which carbon link with other elements like carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen and oxygen. This type of compounds are called organic compounds. They are generally obtained from living organisms. Now, then we discuss classification of compounds, organic compounds. Students, as you know, organic compounds are further classified into two branches. First one is open chain compounds and second one is cyclic compounds. Then we further divided open chain compounds into two classes. First one is straight chain compounds and second one is branch chain compounds. Then we divided cyclic compounds into two main classes. First one is heterocyclic compounds and second one is homocyclic compounds. Then we also classified homocyclic compounds into two classes. Number one is alicyclic compound and number two is aromatic compound. Now, we discuss all these types. First, we define what are open chain compounds. So students, as you know, what are open chain compounds? Its name indicates open chain. If carbon atoms link with each other and form a long open chain, such a compounds are called open chain compounds. Then second type of organic compound are cyclic compound. Cyclic compound, the name indicates cyclic. If hydrocarbons arrange in cyclic manner. Such a compounds are called cyclic compounds. If we study their structure, we also understood what are cyclic compounds. Now, we already discussed our open chain compound is further classified into straight chain compounds and branch chain compounds. What are straight chain compounds? The open chain compounds such as ethane, propane are the example of open chain and straight chain compounds. Branch chain compounds, as name indicate, branched. If open chain compounds form branched, for example, cyclohexane, cyclobutane, these are called branch chain compound. Now, we discuss some other examples of branch chain compound. First one is isobutane. Isobutane, if we study structure of isobutane, they are branch. That's why it is the example of branch chain compound. Now, we discuss another classification, that is cyclic compound. We already discussed what are cyclic compound. Its name indicate if compounds form chain in cyclic manner, such a compounds are called cyclic compound. For example, phenol. Phenol is found in the form of ring. That's why they are example of cyclic compound. If we study another example of cyclic compound, that are cyclobutane. Cyclobutane is the example of cyclic compound. Then we discuss classification of cyclic compound. We already discussed here. Cyclic compounds are of two types, homocyclic and heterocyclic. The word homocyclic compounds is defined as cyclic compounds having atoms of the same element in the rings. For example, benzene and cyclobutane are the example of homocyclic compound. If we study structure of benzene, benzene ring has 6 carbon atom, and this 6 carbon atom has joined with 6 hydrogen. That's why they are called example of homocyclic compound. Now, we discuss another type, that is heterocyclic. Heterocyclic is the type of cyclic compound. Heterocyclic compound is defined as organic compounds with carbon ring structure, which contain carbon ring structure. For example, nitrogen, oxygen or sulfur. These are called example of homocyclic compounds, heterocyclic compounds. Now we discuss another types of homocyclic compounds. As you know, students, homocyclic compounds are further classified into two classes, alicyclic compounds and aromatic compounds. What are alicyclic compounds? The compounds which have benzene ring. ऐसे compounds जो किससे बने हो benzene ring से, ठीक है, which consist of benzene ring are the example of alicyclic compound. Now, another example is aromatic compounds. What are aromatic compounds? The compounds which have benzene ring. Which contain benzene ring. For example, benzene and cyclobutane are the example of aromatic compound. I hope students you understand classification of organic compounds. How many classes of organic compound? There are two main classes of organic compound. First one is open chain compound and second one is cyclic compounds. Then we further classified open chain compound into two classes. Number one is straight chain compound and number two branch chain compound. Then we further divided cyclic compound into two main classes. First one is heterocyclic compounds and second one is homocyclic compounds. Then we further divided homocyclic compound into two main classes. First one is alicyclic compound and second one is aromatic compound. I hope students you understand classification of organic compounds. How we classify this compound. Now we discuss what are alkanes. We already discussed in previous class what are alkanes. Alkanes are hydrocarbons. Such hydrocarbons in which single bond present between carbon atoms. Such hydrocarbons are called alkanes. There are different members of alkane. For example, the first member of alkane is methane. The second member of alkane is ethane. The third member of alkane is propane. Fourth member is butane. Fifth member is pentane. Sixth member is hexane. Seventh member is heptane. Eighth member is octane. Ninth member is nonane. And 10th and last member is called decane. As you know students, at the end of every member, the word "and" is present. If one carbon atom is found, we use the word "meth". If two carbon atoms found, then we use the word "eth". If three carbon atoms present, then we use the word "prop". If four carbon atoms present, then we use the word "but". If five carbon atoms present, then we use the word "pent". If six carbon atoms present, then we use the word "hex". If five carbon atoms present, then we use the word "pent". If six carbon atoms present, then we use the word "hex". If seven carbon atoms present, then we use the word "hept". If eight carbon atoms present, then we use the word "oct". If nine carbon atoms found, then we use the word "non". If 10 carbon atoms found, then we use the word "dec". At the end of every word, we add "n". If we end of the meth add "n", then we call this methane. If at the end of "eth" the word "n" is added, then we call it ethane. If at the end of the word "prop" add "n", then we call it propane. If at the end of "but" the word "n" is added, then we call it propane. If at the end of "but" the word "n" is added, then we call it butane. If at the end of "pent" we add "n", then we call it pentane. If at the end of hex the word N is added, then we call it hexane. If at the end of hept N is added, then we call it heptane. If at the end of oct N is added, then we call it octane. If at the end of non N is added, then we call it nonane. If at the end of word dec N is added, then we call it decane. In this way, all 10 members of alkanes, scientists give different names. First member of this is called methane. Second member is called ethane. Third member is called propane. Fourth member is butane. Fifth member is pentane. Sixth member is hexane. Seventh member is heptane. Eighth member is octane. Ninth member is nonane. And 10th member is decane. Now, we study one by one. Formula, molecular formula of alkane. If we study methane, the molecular formula of methane is CH4. It means one carbon atom combined with 4 hydrogen atoms. If we study the molecular formula of ethane, then we also find 2 carbon atoms linked together with hydrogen atom. How many hydrogen atom? 6 hydrogen atom combined with 2 hydrogen atom. So the molecular formula of ethane is C2H6. The third member is propane. The molecular formula of propane is C3H8. After propane, next member is butane. The molecular formula of butane is C4H10. Next member of alkane is pentane. Molecular formula of pentane is C5H12. Then, if we study molecular formula of pentane, then we see it. The molecular formula of pentane is C5H12. Now, next member is hexane. The molecular formula of hexane is C6H14. It represents 6 carbon atom linked with 14 hydrogen atom. Now, next member of alkane is heptane. The molecular formula of heptane is C7H16. It means 7 carbon atom linked with 16 hydrogen atom. Next member of alkane is octane. The molecular formula of octane is C8H18. It means 18 hydrogen atom combined with 8 carbon atom. Now, next member of alkane is nonane. If we study molecular formula of nonane, it represents 9 carbon atoms linked with hydrogen atoms, 20 hydrogen atoms. So, the molecular formula of nonane is C9H20. The last member of alkane series is decane. If we study molecular formula of decane, the molecular formula of decane is C10H22. It represents hydrogen atom, 22 hydrogen atom linked with 10 carbon atom. So the molecular formula of decane is C10H22. I hope students you understand what are alkanes, how many members of alkanes. You also know about names of different members of alkanes and also their molecular formula. Now, I hope students you understand this lecture. Give your feedback to your class group. Thank you so much.